Welcome to Lost Without Japan, a travel podcast about the life-changing experiences of exploring Japan and those moments we would be lost without. For your listening pleasure, allow me to introduce your very own Kanko Guido, Michael.
Welcome to our 16th episode of Good Times, where we catch up with each other and past guests and talk about anything that is related to Japan. So pull up a bar stool. We're at a sister location in Hiroshima, Hell's Chicken, which you can go to and meet the fabulous and amazing Rock. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see me sharing his post. He just opened this restaurant up. It's Korean fried chicken and a bar. What else do you need in life? But our next Good Times episode will flip back to be with Messiah at 31 Beer Stand, all Hiroshima, all the time. Now, Good Times is always available through your favorite podcasting service. And if you're new to this podcast by way of Pod Ranker and the article that listed the show as one of the best for Japan travel podcast for 2026, welcome. If you're a returning Lost Without listener, thank you again for your time and returning once more. For those of you that want more good times after this episode is over, and you weren't coming directly from the Patreon where we just did about like 11 minutes of just riveting only Japan content, um, and not just rambling and hanging out prior to pushing record here, feel free to check that out. And we appreciate you helping to help the show and my daughter and I in our trip in about 2 years. Getting us a meal, getting us something that's here. Do very much appreciate that. Today is just a good times episode. And I say not just but it is a good times episode. Welcome back. We may very well have David join us at some point in time. I know it's the AM for him in Australia, so it's a matter of when he sees my message. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, thanks for having me back again. I am good. I think you and I are we're in a little bit of a similar boat. Um, you said you've been working on some shower repairs. I needed to have some repairs done to my bathroom ceiling due to a leaky roof that was installed incorrectly. So, yeah, getting to just hemorrhage some money this week on things I don't want to hemorrhage money on.
No, it's like I'm hoping it stays at the $8,700 they quoted me for the shower, which is still drastically more than I care to spend. Like as $8,700 would be a very nice trip for my daughter and I to go to Japan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so. Is what it is. But no, I bought a Lucky Charm, not a lucky, of things this year. I got like a one of those charms you can get from Japan that's for good luck that you get from the shrines or temples that you go to. Have one of that. I have that in my person now, carrying it around, and I've noticed an uptick about things. So I'm gonna keep rolling with that and hope, with the 5 weeks I have left of school, that things just keep on getting better and better. Because why not? You know what I mean? When the big money and our sponsors come in, then we're gonna just have good times actually at Hell's Chicken, and also like for all the locations in Hiroshima. Just why not? Why not, buddy? We'll fly there, hang out, have ourselves a good time. I know. I think last time we were together, we talked a bit about Gundam Base and that being by me. And I know you. It was a good time. My dad and I, we've been building models since then. The ones that I'm building are the real grade, and I've realized I can't do real grade anymore, and I'm just gonna have to stick with larger models because just hoping that something goes together. for me is is not as much fun because my daughter is just like, "Hey, Dad, look how much I have done of mine," and she's like, "Are you still on your foot?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm still on the foot and the leg, and yes, you've finished a complete model."
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's probably the difference between, you know, youth and maturity as well, like racing to finish it versus realizing, yeah, this is my, kind of my meditative thing that I do to unwind. So I'm not in a rush to get it done.
I'd like to say I was savoring it, but I was trying. Unfortunately, I
Okay.
was trying.
Okay. All right.
But yes, we're gonna go with that,
Yeah.
when they bring that up again, and I'm gonna bring that up as my rebuttal.
Yeah. A
You know
little callback to the large hands conversation that we were having on the Patreon. So, if you're interested in hearing any more about that, get in on the Patreon now.
yeah, you like, just you see things that you don't get to see on an audio only podcast. And if that hasn't scared you away already, let's move on. So, um, but I ended up just recently, watching Tokyo Cowboy, and it is a very slow burn. You know, when they say slow burn for movies, extremely slow burn. But the payoff for me was worth it. So much so that I even bought the physical movie on top of the digital. And it was one of those things in my Apple store that I was like, at some point in time, this is going to go on sale. And it didn't, but I bought it anyways because I was just like one of those nights where I'm like, I want to watch something, enjoy myself. And it was definitely something where I watched the first time. I thought it was like pretty decent. And then I don't know if you have different movies like this, Justin, where you watch it a second time, you enjoy it more. And then like I watched a third time and I really, really enjoyed it. Just to like, I think know what you're going into, but like kind of appreciate what's going on. And not to give too much away of it. The title does, a good deal with Tokyo Cowboy. You have a salaryman from Tokyo who ends up in Montana at a ranch. And their company is trying to go about making this ranch profitable. And it's just kind of the story of his time there and things like that. But it was like really, really good. I hadn't heard anything about it before, like seeing it on Apple. And so just one of those happy occurrences. I definitely enjoyed it. And then I know that there's the movie by the director who did Old Boy, and it's the blanking on it, but it shows like a guy with like a flower pot in his hand. I rented that too, but that is in a way like Old Boy, very bizarre. And I'm kind of chunking my way through that movie. My dad, my son's like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Oh, Tokyo Cowboy, fantastic." you know, Other movie, I'll end up working my way through, and we'll see, we'll see. But yeah, I had that that I'm watching, and I really feel, buddy, that I think in 2 summers, we'll knock on wood here, that I should, even with everything that's going on, I think get back to where I can be saving. In part because this summer, rather than doing what I wanted to do, which was spend more time with my dad and stuff like that, we're still going to spend time together. But I'm going to be working Monday through Friday, doing custodial work the entire summer from like 7 to 3 something. In part to help pay for my shower. It's not going to cover everything, but it'll give it a chunk of it. But also so that I can start saving for my daughter and I to go because my last episode that I recorded was kind of a throwback to when I recorded at the very beginning, like my second or third episode ever, over 130 something episodes ago. And it was putting money aside, having it put there. And man, buddy, when things begin to happen, it's very easy to get out of that savings thing and just go into that, like, just splurging money on things I don't wanna splurge money for, so I'm just like, "You know what? Let's step up that work because why not?" And, get some money going towards that, so it's kind of just refocused me, getting that ready. And it's also helped that, like, with that award that we won that I was talking about, I say we because you've been on the episodes too, my friend. I'm
Oh, that's
super,
all you.
I say super near 1,000 listens in the last 30 days. And I don't know if you know this, but if you are consistently around 1,000, if not above, that's where the sponsors actually come in, as opposed to the sponsors that I like to do for this episode. For anyone who's listened before, but it's just really flattering. That you get something that actually means something, and you could see that people took the time out of their day to come and listen and see what was going on. And I hope, a portion of them, stay and become, part of that very passionate, active base that is a part of that show. And I really, really do appreciate everything that's there. And then just for some heads up as far as things go, um, I'm going to we're gonna be there's gonna be three of us, just included, where we're gonna be talking about rental family movies, both of them, and that's gonna be kind of episode that we're gonna look to record where we can have a trilogy of fabulous people and kind of discuss the more recent one and also the OG, even though they are different movies. And I'm currently working through researching Tokyo Part 2 of the Popeye magazine series, where it's like you're kind of finding out what are you telling people who live in Japan, who are Japanese, to go do in Tokyo. And ones of those, I don't know if you have that document up or not, but let me click copy this and post this into our Instagram here chat that we have. And I think this is a great, I think our bud, we're going to have be on it in 15 minutes ago. Whoa, yeah, here we go. I think we're going to be getting our guest here in a moment. But check this out, my friend. This is one of the places that was talked about in our magazines that made the cut, I should say. Friend in hand.
Okay.
But this is in that Google Maps. It is a coffee store, sort of. And we'll wait for David to get in here because this is in part for a thing it's here, but it's a bar and coffee location. As soon as David's on here in a moment, I'll bring it up because it is Australia tie-in here. The gentleman from Tokyo actually went to Australia, enjoyed the scene there with the rooftop bars, and wanted to bring it back to Tokyo. So we will, get that as well. But that is, one of the things that you can see and enjoy just by coming along,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
that time. So
this looks cool, like, that rooftop, like, kinda open bar area, uh, pretty sweet. I mean, you know what appeals to me based off of a few of the episodes we've done now, but man, you get some, like, warm tones and the wood in there, and I'm like, "Okay, yep, I'll sit here." I'm a simple creature.
and really, like, when you can find something that's kind of a little bit unique, that isn't just your typical thing that you have, why not? And I just love the fact that, like, you find people that are willing to be somewhere in the world to learn how to do something and then bring that back and have it be what you specialize in. And you can tell, like, in some of the reviews for like the people within Japan, that there's parts of it they don't get, because it's just a different concept. Not that there's not rooftop bars, but there's more to that concept than just the fact that there is a rooftop bar that's here. But you can see that there's, some things, but I would say, like, overwhelmingly very positive. And in that area, I got to tell you, you're going to be in a lot of ritzy, like, fine establishments where you're gonna be, looking at things I can't afford, and I probably would get a dirty look just walking in, like my credit card would probably ding, and they're like, "Nope, can't afford it. You just keep on walking back out, sir." But this is, one of those actually where you can interact with somebody and have a very positive experience. And I mean, even if you're trying to get that, you know, fashion, you know what I mean? Like the different fashion things that people go to Japan to get. And you expect like a almost coldness or kind of like an attitude from the people serving you to when you're going into the store because you're at that store. This can at least help you feel a little bit better about things. So
Yeah, I don't know that I've had that. Maybe you're saying that that's an experience here in the U.S. 'Cause I don't know that I've had that experience with like the coldness in Japan. Um, we ended up, I say we, myself and some friends from the first trip that I took, that Air Force trip. I think I had. I don't know if I'd mentioned this or not, but we ended up at this like really upscale whiskey shop that had a bunch of like antique antiques maybe not the right word, but vintage whiskey bottles, right? um and so they were super pricey, super out of our price range, and we just went in there. Is like I said, is military guys. We tend to show up everywhere in t-shirt and jeans. We don't understand dress code. And so I would think to that degree, or to that end, it looked pretty apparent
yeah.
to the people working there, like, these guys don't have the money to shop here. And they were still super friendly. Anything that we asked about, they were like, "Oh yeah, did you want to see this? Like, did you want this bottle?" Like, there was no presumption that like, oh, just because you look a certain way, or maybe aren't like super educated about this particular bottle, that that doesn't mean that you couldn't potentially be in the market for it. So
Yeah, when we ran into it in some, like, and I wouldn't say it's like, necessarily like the coldest thing. I think it's just like almost that attitude of things here, but we ran into that when we visited Bape, which is a clothing store that was there, and then in some of, like, the resale shops, but, like, you walk into the resale shop and, like, you're looking at, like, jeans that are, like $1,000, right?
yeah,
Or,
yeah. Are you talking like in Harajuku?
yeah, 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 and that's kind of
Yeah.
the area that I'm in right now, and when I was talking to people, I was like, "Hey, make sure you don't bring your travel backpack," right? You go in at least, uh, like, if you're gonna be drinking in the area and you're gonna be eating in the area, walk around in the as if you're gonna be doing that drinking and eating and things, and not just necessarily, having sweat through everything, that you have, going in. And I think your attitude, covers that quite a bit. Again, it's not everywhere, but I just feel like some stores, like, we went into, because we went into multiple, Bapes when we were there, and there were some that were just, like, super friendly, and then there were others, I think, that had, like, a run-in with a a tourist,
Mhm.
before us, maybe the day before, maybe earlier that day, and it was still kinda like, "Hey," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 so
I could definitely see that for that area. Not that it excuses anyone's behavior,
yeah,
but if your experience is similar to mine, when you go to Harajuku and you go to those vintage shops, like in the US, vintage is obviously starting to get a little bit pricey, right? Because, you go to places like Goodwill or whatever, and they sort of realize people are after the stuff, and so they've maybe priced it more than what it used to be when you and I were kids, when you could go in there and get a T-shirt for $2. But yeah, you're not kidding. Like, you go into some of those places in Harajuku, and it's like a vintage pair of jeans or a vintage T-shirt, and it's hundreds of dollars, hundreds of US dollars. Um, and so
yeah.
I don't know who can afford that. From a US perspective, but also from a Japanese perspective, because their economy, we always talk about how cheap things are there, right? And you and I both know that things are cheap there to us, because
Yeah.
it's about relativity, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, like, when
to
if you have, like, $100, but you actually have 150 in buying power, and that 150 in buying power gets you more than you would have gotten here to begin with. It's like compounds it to where you're basically getting, like, $200 of value for every $100 that you're spending. It's you
Right,
know?
right, and so the flip side of that, like, while that's great for us as tourists, is, like, if you think about that from a local perspective, it means that, you know, if not a recession, the economy's stagnant, right?
Yeah.
Like, they aren't making more money. Things are getting more expensive for them, and so, to that end, financially, like, life is probably a little bit harder for them, and so to go into a vintage shop and see a T-shirt that costs $200 US, it's like, who is buying this? Like, who are you pricing this for? How do you keep your doors open? So it's crazy to me. But also I'll be the first to admit, like, I don't understand that world. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who are willing to pay $200 for a T-shirt. I'm just not that guy.
I'm gonna be the person that spends probably like the 100, ish, which is more than I would spend here. But I do have something to where, like, if I want to have something from Japan, I've gotten to a point where if I can find a shirt that fits me, number one, I love it. Throw on an undershirt underneath, and when I'm having kind of a day, in and of things where I'm just like, hey, things are a bit rough. I want to feel like I'm got a little bit closer to that Japan vacation than what I
Mhm.
am. I can just go ahead and put that shirt on, feel great about myself, and that is like one of the things that I absolutely love. And I've kicked myself for not buying things because hey, when the money doesn't look right, you can write this off as it's vacation money and just don't do the conversion, and suddenly things aren't so bad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it, and just to be super clear, like, it's almost, like, specifically about certain types of certain articles of clothing,
Yeah.
because I do have some things that I'll pay money for if I think, like, "Oh, I'm buying this, and it's a thing that's gonna last for, you know, basically a lifetime," right? So, like, my last trip, when I went with some of my friends, we ended up on Cat Street in Harajuku.
Okay.
I don't know if you've been there, but it's the more
Yeah.
for listeners who haven't been, Cat Street is, um, it's more, I guess, what I would call, like, and I'm putting this in air quotes, it's more the adult, um, shopping fashion district within
Yep.
Harajuku. It's
Yep.
like
Yep.
it's
Yep.
where you go if you're not necessarily looking strictly for vintage, but you do wanna go clothing shopping, and you don't necessarily wanna break the bank either. And when I was there, I went to a place called, Tokyo Blue Jeans,
Yep.
um, and I bought a pair of Japanese denim. I honestly don't remember the price, but probably US, probably 150, but I've looked at the website. If I were to buy it, on the US website or here in the US, they're like 350 dollars jeans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm getting a huge discount for these. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna pull the trigger. And then I've also, like, because I'm one of those guys, I'll wear shoes until they're, like, literally peeling apart. Because 1, I'm cheap, and 2, I just don't like the act of shopping. Um, and so to that end, I was also in need of like a light winter jacket,
Okay.
and had been for years. And so they had this bomber jacket that was, made out of the same material that they use to make, karate gis. So,
Okay.
like, a very, very durable fabric. And then are you familiar with, I'm probably gonna get this word wrong, but sashiko? It's the Japanese, stitching where they'll, like, just stitch,
Yes.
like, a pattern into something. It's got a sashiko pattern in it. It's just very simple, but it just gives the whole coat, like, a nice finish. And I was like, "Well, okay, I'm gonna splurge and buy that because when in Rome." So
No,
so yeah, I
I
mean, I'll spend money on things. It's just like a T-shirt where I know, like, this is gonna get threadbare in a year.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I I can't justify it. Hey, David.
Hey, how you doing, Justin?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Man.
you. I'm glad
Oh,
everyone can hear me. And
Oh, you are perfect, buddy, and worth the wait every time, my friend, all the time. Hey, we got a place to share with you. I was thinking about you, and before I go, Justin, there's also in that day trip talk. You were like setting up the next day trip talk without even trying. There's a place in that's going to be part of that day trip talk that is called Pizza Slice Cat Street, and it's on that Cat Street that you were talking about.
Nice.
And it's just pizza by the slice. It's New York style pizza, around like 770 yen per slice.
Oh,
And it was just like all, very, fresh ingredients and things like that. But man, talk about just, hitting it out of the park there, my friend. It's awesome. But David, I want to share with you. There's a place that we were talking about here, and it is, I'll put it on here. It's called Friend in Hand, which is just kind of a funny, but yes, but the gentleman that did this place actually was in Australia, and he fell in love with the rooftop bar scene, and he decided to bring that back with him when he came back to Japan, in particular Tokyo. And he like it's a Masashi is, and it's he's out there by, like, in Tokyo and things like that, but he ended up finding it in Melbourne and, kinda brought those things back, and I was like, I know somebody who might enjoy this on their next trip to Tokyo, and that'd be David, world champion, card, trading card game champion, David, would very much enjoy this, so, uh
Thank you. I'm very flattered with the compliment.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's fabulous, and buddy, I gotta tell you, I'm glad you're on 'cause I feel like we're gonna break that 1,000, downloads now that you're here. I with getting the show getting nominated as one of the best travel, podcast for Japan, my number of downloads and things have greatly increased. So it was nice to see where I was kind of like daydreaming about being over 1,000 and getting a real sponsor one of these days. And not just the sponsors we have fun coming up with whenever we do a good times episode. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But man, we are super close to 1,000 actual downloads within 30 days, and all from that one article and that like award that we ended up receiving. I'm about to finish up the 5th year of doing this, and I was telling Justin how you are the original OG fan of the show. You were there at the start, and you've been here this whole time. So I've been talking to Justin about you about how much I'm looking forward to having you on today and just having you be here, for those good time episodes. Not only this whole entire time, but just getting to hang out with you again today. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, yeah, really well. Yeah, congratulations on the review and, like, the whole thing. So that's excellent to see the show progress in a positive manner, so it's heaps
Yeah.
good. But overall, I've been pretty good. It's business as usual on my end. So I have, like, a couple of big announcements that I was gonna make on the last show we did, but, it was too early to say anything, so yeah. And that was, is I'm expecting a kid. So,
Outstanding,
Nice, man.
buddy.
yeah. So,
Congrats.
yeah, thank you very much. So it's been a while since the last we spoke personally on, like, through the internet. Um, yeah, so I think we're looking about less than 2 months due date, so
Well, I mean, your availability to hop on and do good times episodes is only gonna skyrocket,
yeah, that's
after that,
it.
my friend.
So,
Yeah.
what about yourself? How have you been?
Ugh, doing all right, my friend. Coming towards the end of school, I got about 5 weeks left of time, and I can't wait, to work as a custodian this summer. And try to get some money for Addison and I to save towards our trip because you'll be starting off, and my 18-year-old is graduating
Oh,
from high
very nice.
school this year, and they'll be going off to our community college university, coming up. So, kind of a proud moment for dad. And I've been telling Justin about how much of my money has been going towards having to remodel my shower because it's about 9,000 US to have the shower redone, so, that was that'd be a super nice trip for my daughter and I to Japan, but, I'm gonna be doing that custodial work, gonna set some money aside, get my daughter and I back on because my buddy Rock in Hiroshima, who had, his first son, Teon, in August, is, like, jonesing for both of us to be there, and he's like, "2 years is too long to wait," and I'm like, "Well, buddy, unless you win the lotto or I win the lotto, or Patreon really blows up, yeah, it's going to be 2 years. So, but yeah, otherwise it's good, man. But congrats, David. I'm very happy for you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
You know,
So we still plan to travel to Japan. I think we just after when the babies are due, or born, sorry. We're gonna see, yeah, like start to book a trip to Japan like around Christmas time.
be
So,
awesome,
because
buddy.
apparently we've been seeing pretty much on like Instagram and on the net, that it is possible to travel with a newborn. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll
so
I'll tell you, like, and Mike, maybe you can agree or disagree with this, like, and it's not gonna feel this way to you at the time, David.
yep,
You're gonna look back at me saying this and be like, that guy's an asshole. He doesn't know what he's talking about." But, like, honestly, the first year before they're mobile, it's like, dude, it's not ever gonna get any easier.
yep,
Because once they're mobile, it's like, "Okay, gotta make sure fingers aren't going into sockets and we're not falling downstairs and
yep,
everything else." It's like, until then, it's like, "Okay, I just gotta kinda you're basically a plant. I just gotta set you in the sun for a little bit and make sure you don't dry up."
yep.
I was telling my buddy Mike too, when we were talking about Justin's got a copia of Mike's friends himself as well. And I was telling him about my friend Rev, who was like so excited about his kids to start walking, which you do because you're just like it's a first time parent thing. And I was just telling him the whole time, and I'm like, "Buddy, just soak this up right now, because as soon as they start going, they're not gonna stop until, they move out of the house." It's like, they're just gonna be going. My favorite age was, 4. Between that, like, right before, kindergarten, and then that preschool time, like, for when they're young, I should say. My favorite time for when they're young was that because they have their own personality, but it's pre all of the, like, things that can come with school at times, social things and stuff like that. They're just so, like, happy to be around you, and, that like, going to the zoo and doing all those different activities at that point in time. If they're sick, they can tell you, "Hey, my stomach hurts," and stuff. Like, amazing time. Like, my son playing with his Thomas the Train, engines, just different things that just come flashing back at me. And one thing I love about being a teacher is that I get kind of relive those things at times because I get with kindergarten through 5th grade. So even though my kids are, over 20 and about to be 20, you know, like in a rather short period of time, um, you know, it's gonna be amazing. And just being able to share that with my daughter, I'm like, for you starting off to be able to share that with your child of being a world traveler, like, hey, we're not gonna wait for you. You gotta come along. Just don't do what I did on my first trip and misread that Benadryl, because our doctors are like, hey, give your kids some Benadryl before you go on the flight to help them out a little bit. And you're
Yep.
supposed to give them the amount that you're supposed to give them. I might have gone a little bit over, and everyone was commenting about how well behaved our son was for that whole flight, and
Nice.
not as well behaved coming back. Um, maybe there's a correlation for that, but that is amazing and wonderful news, buddy. If you decide to name your child,
Yes.
Lost as a first name, Without as a middle name, and Japan as a last name, prior to yours. I'm not gonna, I'll
Not
give it
gonna
up
say
for
no.
you.
Hey, look, it's not off the cards. Well, the chances aren't zero, so it's looking
That's
pretty
right.
good.
That's right.
So no, it's good.
Have you been able to get it with all of that coming up? You've been doing any tourneys and things like that for yourself?
Say that again. Like,
You've
is it
been playing any
tournaments?
card tournaments and things like that?
Yeah. So I played the Gundam Regionals last weekend. So, I pretty much won half, lost half all my games. So it was a 50-50 split or close to it. So, I would like to do a little bit better, but hey, look, the competition's crazy. So
Is
yeah,
it,
you people who go to like the regionals are generally fairly experienced players. So it's good. It's good. I don't mind the the
Ch
challenge.
yeah. Well, I was
Is
telling
there a
Yeah, I was telling Justin too, like, I sent him the pictures of Gundam base. I don't know what cards you're looking for, buddy, but you gotta let me know when my daughter and I go get our next model. I can, look to see if there's anything that's there that might be something that you want and, mail it your way. So, sorry to cut you off, Justin. I mean,
No,
I'm not
no, you're all
really,
good.
but, you know.
Yeah, yeah, we both know that. You're all good. I was gonna ask if there's a relatively large audience for Gundam in Australia, for the card game.
I would say fairly big. For what it is, a lot like Bandai itself, they didn't really anticipate that Gundam was going to be big in the West, so that's why they kind of underprinted most of the first sets and the starter decks. But yeah, there's a fair, especially where I live too. It's what we're like a city of, I think, 450,000, and there's um, a fair amount of players here. So, but in Sydney, you can bet there's a lot more. So there's
Okay,
a fair bit of audience around it,
cool.
especially in Australia. So it's good.
Well, Justin, I know, we kind of a little bit, anything that you wanna share as well, any card tournaments, that you've been a part of too,
Oh, man.
like,
No, I don't know that I would do very good in a
any
card
books?
tournament.
Any books then, my friend? You got anything on that
Um,
book front that you, would like to share?
yeah, yeah, man, I need to, so I've been finishing up this, like, I'm segueing into it. I've been finishing up, I'll call it a semester of Japanese tutoring, and that ends next week. And it's
Congrats.
been it's been a heavy for me, a mentally heavy semester because it's like learning to conjugate all the verbs and everything, and that's just like I'm not good at grammar to begin with, and so then when you have to like do foreign language grammar because you have to, for me, it's like, okay, I already don't really do well with this concept in English, and
Yes,
now
yes.
I have to, like, if you I don't even have, like, I don't have a great example for whatever reason. I'm thinking, like, the phrase like, the prepositional phrase, right? It's like, "Ah, crap. Okay, I have to do this in a prepositional phrase." Well, first of all, I have to look up what a prepositional phrase is in English, so I know what you're talking about, and then I have to understand how to do it in English so that I can figure out how to recognize it once I start translating it into Japanese. So it's been that's been yeah, a mental lift for me. But a good one. Still trying to learn on that, but it's been slowing my reading down. My reading for just, enjoyment's sake. But I did finish a book called The End of August. And it's about it's kind of autobiographical. It's about the author's family, and she is um, like Korean Japanese. Like her heritage is Korean, but she lives in Japan, and so it's kind of about how her family came to live in Japan. And if you know much about um, recent in terms of like the grand scheme of things, world events, Japan and Korea don't necessarily have a great history, and so it's about the Japanese occupation of Korea leading up to World War II and during World War II, and how basically how she ended up in Japan. So it's not always a super light read. So that one took me a while too, just because it was a little bit heavier of a read, and also the writing style of it was uh, a little challenging. Very stream of consciousness, not a lot of like punctuation and stuff in sentences. So it was like, oh boy, like let me reread this real quick. But yeah, like that was good. We talked about the next episode, the next Good Times episode, talking about rental family, and it's been a hot minute since I've read it now. But just as a related note, in terms of books, like that Mr. Kato Place Family, I know you and I have talked about
Okay.
that. Is a book I've read that kind of has that um, similar theme to it, right? About a person who's basically a human being for rent to fill in some gap at a party or in somebody's life. So yeah, just otherwise, you know, just like you, bathroom repair. Had a had a cat that decided to get wobbly this week, so,
Oh
had a lot
no.
of
That
emergency vet visits.
those are inexpensive too. So yeah, you just
Yeah, yeah. So,
I'm
things I
getting a
know. Things I
yeah,
know.
is-
Let me put the plug out there that if you don't have pet insurance, you should get pet insurance. So
I get I'm David, I'm going to the dentist tomorrow to get a post put in to my jaw so I can have a tooth eventually 6 months from now attached to that. That is also, man, when that whole process is done, I didn't realize when they said it was going to take a year or more to have that all happen. They truly meant that it was going to take a year or more to have that all go through. But hey, it's another step. 6 months after, it'll finally be set enough that I can get done and I can go smile in pictures again. If I allow for them to be taken. Justin, I'm glad though that you finished that book about 5 months early. Like for end of August. I mean, that's not so bad.
yeah, yeah,
Bad
yeah,
humor at its best. That's but
yeah. There you go.
you know but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and uh, we're the David, did you see both of the rental family movies, like the rental family LLC, and then like there's the Brandon Fraser, which is like a newer one, and then there's the one like Maurice, and you and I talked about, I think at one point in time in the past where it was like, the older one. Have you seen either of those?
So I saw the new Brendan Fraser one when it came out in cinemas here in Australia. That was early this year. Yeah, so I've definitely seen that one, um, but not the older ones. No, unfortunately. But
That's
I would
eh,
say that's on my to do list.
yeah, because it's like the new one has some similarities to it. The older one is like a I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't know that it's going to be as enjoyable to everybody. But it takes a lot of the same kind of concepts, but it's a totally different movie. There's not a Brendan Fraser character, you know, kind of going through as the gaijin in Japan. Told from a different standpoint, more the person who's like running or running the business itself.
Mhm.
Just a kind of a different take on things.
Well, that's pretty
W
cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I like the
yeah,
sound of that. Just because solely you're not watching the same movie in like two different times, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
I like it.
Uh, well, one thing that I wanna say is, apparently, if you go bike riding next time in Japan, that the police are doing their, ever so often crackdown on, bike fines, my friend, or pedestrian fines. If you're on your phone and walking and traveling in Japan, keep your yen handy, because you will have to pay at the time of breaking said thing, um, for having to do it. And in the past, we'd get that like, oh, you're a foreigner, like don't do it again type of like warning. And they're making it sound more like that there's going to be the less of that going on and more just the fine for not, um, you know, not doing what you're supposed to. So, like being on your phone, and your head into your phone as you're kind of walking along is one of those.
Mhm.
No. And then being using the GPS to navigate and have that be on as something, and the fines on it aren't not small. Like one of them was like, 100 something bucks, so it's like, that's not a small chunk of change. You could be
No.
spending 10,000 yen, not on a pair of jeans like Justin and I were talking about earlier, but on like hey, you need to have your head actually where you need to be.
So
I'm gonna
this includes walking as well?
Yes. So,
Oof.
like,
That's
the
crazy.
same thing, and it's one of those things. So this is not new to Japan, right? So, like, I mean, you may watch videos and they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, look at this. What is happening right now?" Like, like the YouTube, gotcha type thing of like, "Oh my, look at this look at this this is," they always, whenever this kinda kicks up once in a great while, they crack down on it really hard, And then they begin to ease off of it to where they go back to where they're at kind of now, you know? So, but it is just something to be aware of if you're going to be bike riding there in Japan. And I sent this just in like the Sora News
Mhm.
article too, but like, it's just something to be aware of, my friend, because it's like having lights that work on your bike. So make sure that those lights actually function before you take your bike out, right, and go riding around wherever. Because if it doesn't flip on when it's supposed to, you're driving the wrong way on the street. David, unfortunately, is ahead of us in that because he's, like already practicing Japan,
Yep.
in his everyday life. I hate you for that, buddy. It's like, whenever I go, I have a hard enough time knowing where I'm going. Now you're going to put things flipped around on me. It's tough stuff. But yeah. So again, nothing new. But again, if you're going to be traveling, in the
Keep
next
it in
chunk of
mind.
time, be aware, it is here. It is here. So, it's but yeah, I've been on, I was telling, just to been back with my sister playing a little bit of, Call of Duty. I said I wouldn't buy it until it was on like a drastic sale, and that finally happened. So I'm suffering through that with my daughter again. Or not my daughter. My sister. I confuse my sister and my daughter's names all the time. Let's just, tie that to other things as well. But it's all good stuff, my friends. And then if you see anything in there, you're welcome to hop on. But I've got one more that I thought, I don't know. I am a huge fan of the convenience stores within Japan and the quality of food that they have. We've had many, many episodes on that, but this might be too much for me. Yeah, but 7-Eleven is, apparently right now, selling hot takoyaki, at the convenience store. But it's gonna be for, a limited time, and it's just this month at 7-Elevens. You'll get to be able to go through and be tempted by the hot food display of these being in store, served fresh, apparently. So, not just something that's been sitting there for a while, and enjoy all of that, that you would otherwise. So, large pieces of octopus, satisfying eating experience. They show some pictures. Some of those pictures don't look appealing. Other pictures do. Could be a lighting thing, but not a bad price. We're talking about this where it's sold in packs of 3 for 213 yen or 6 for 427 yen. That is
Not too bad.
ridiculous. Ridiculous for
Yeah. Hey, you wanna know something interesting about 7-Eleven? Because I went down a rabbit hole about 7-Eleven, like, a month and a half ago. So, I'm not sure if you know, but this is new to me, that 7-Eleven Japan now owns 7-Eleven US and Australia. I thought it was the
Yeah,
other way
they
around.
they bought them,
So,
I think, last year
yep.
and,
So,
started talking about bringing the Japanese menu or some of, like, the food quality to the
yeah,
US. We'll see whether or not that happens. I
yeah.
think that, just based off of, you know, capitalism and how things work in the US, I don't see the same level of quality, but we'll see.
Mhm. 'Cause I think they wanna do the same thing here in Australia. They wanna kinda bring like, convenience, like, super convenience model over, like, all the food you can get, and, they have released, or have tried to release, like, the egg sandwich here,
Yes.
but it's more in a weird role. It's not the same, I can tell you that. It's still improvement for what they had before, but, yeah, they kinda do wanna bring more of the food, like,
Yeah.
more fresh, and there was also, like, a breakdown. There was a video too of, like, why 7-Eleven or the convenience store model works really well in Japan, versus, like, other Western places, and it's I would see if I can, find the link for that because it was very interesting.
And,
Yeah.
Uh,
like,
We
a
don't
friend of
have
the
a
go ahead.
I was gonna say we don't have a lot of seven. Mike and I love to talk over each other. Or I actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna blame Mike. I love to talk over Mike. Uh, we don't have a lot of 7-Elevens where I'm at. I know, like,
mhm,
my Chicago probably has more of them, and honestly, I could see that, like, convenience store, like, quick stop lunch model working a little better in Chicago because Chicago,
Yeah.
especially in the inner loop, you know, you've got, like, foot traffic and that kinda stuff. The city I live in, you know, it's like most US cities. You kinda need a car to get everywhere, and so that kind of kills that model of, like, having
mm,
like a walk-up bodega type of thing, and so I don't see it happening here as quickly. I would love it if it did. I actually happen to have, just by chance, 2 7-Elevens near my house, but like I said, they're not super common where I'm at. And neither one of the 7-Elevens by my house, at least when I went, had the egg sandos, so that was a bit of a disappointment.
Because we had, like, friend of the show, James Hathaway, who's in Canada, he was able to snag some of those, in Canada, right, at his 7-Eleven. I used to have way more 7-Eleven by me, but over the years, I have to actually Google search to see where they are because there's none remotely, near me, so whenever that 7-Eleven, July 11th comes up and you can get a free slushie, right, by
mhm.
going to, 7-Eleven in the past, I'd have to search to see where that even was,
Yeah.
you know?
Did you ever have, 'cause here some I think I'm not sure if they still have it, but once a year, 7-Eleven here would have, what are they called? Slurpees? Do you know the
Yeah.
term? Yeah,
Those
yeah,
are
Ices,
yeah,
those
so
are
Slurpees.
those are year-round at
yeah.
7-Elevens in the US. It's just like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
staple item
so
to have.
If
yeah,
you're
they
not
have them
getting
here all the time.
diabetes, right?
But there's I think one day a year that you can bring an item that fits through like a cardboard hole in the cardboard hole. If it fits through that, you can fill that up for a certain price. So that's pretty interesting. So I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
heard of that or have that there. So
nice.
um, we
No.
do, let's say like in Canberra where I live, there is 7-Elevens kind of scattered everywhere, but they're all connected to petrol stations.
Okay.
So I think in Sydney there are standalone 7-Eleven stores, but they're kind
Yeah.
of very small. So
Growing up, like, I grew up in a really small town, not where I live now, and there was, I think, 2 7-Elevens initially, and so there must have been some time in, like, the, early to mid '80s when either Japan still owned the 7-Elevens in the US or the business that did own them, um, was
Was
trying
better.
to expand their footprint, different than what they are now, and and
'Cause they
those
were
were gas.
everywhere.
Yeah, and they were gas stations at the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
but now I don't know that. I don't wanna say none of them exist with gas stations, but man, I don't see them that way very often at all when I do see them.
well, if you come to Canberra, I'll give you a tour.
There you go.
uh,
Sorry, David. I'd love to see your child and stuff, but I need to
Yeah,
go off to that. I'm not gonna
but
meet
also
you for
let
the first
but also
meet you
let's
for
get
the
a
first
Slurpee.
time. And yeah, that's right. Let's go here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
uh,
I just flew this whole way. So yeah, nearest one for me. I've got apparently like a city over. So I'd have to let you know. I'll go do some research next time we're together and let you know if they are attached to a gas station or not. Because, like I said, the one I used to go to was super near my house, and that was when I was significantly younger in high school. And we would just go there to load up on snacks before we went back and watched our VHS anime. I had our can of Cheese Whiz and pretzels and hot fries and all the stuff that Jolt Cola and all the things that were like great back in the day.
yeah,
So.
yep. I was just about to say Surge while you were listing things, so I couldn't remember the name
Oh,
of
man,
Joel.
Surge was better than Jolt. I'll say that. Jolt, you drank just because it was cool. I felt like
Yeah.
about
Joel,
that
you
point in
drank
time.
when you were, like, when you had buddies, like, when you were gonna do a sleepover,
Yeah.
and, you were like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna stay up all night. We're gonna stay up all night. We're finally gonna beat Goldeneye." Like, so you'd go get a can of Jolt, and then you'd just spend all night having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, we were really cool when I was growing up. This is we would like you'd have maybe some high schoolers that might have drinking parties, with some alcohol, and ours was seeing who could drink Mountain Dew the quickest from the can. And then you'd get sick basically from consuming so much caffeine and sugar in a limited portion of time. So we were the cool kids, David. We were definitely the cool kids.
M
Back in that time. So,
my
um,
big question when you said that is, what was the record? Who
we did a 24 case, me and my buddy, Scott, and we did that together, and I think we downed all 24 cans in, like, less than 20 minutes, and,
Oof.
we did not feel good afterwards. We
I
did
can only
Yeah.
imagine.
not feel good
Re
afterwards.
remember remember, like, what was it now? 10 minutes ago when you were talking about needing a new tooth? All that sugar, Mike.
Justin, there's no correlation. What are you talking about, buddy?
Yeah.
What are you
No, I
talking
don't know.
That's crazy.
Couldn't
No,
possibly be related.
not at all. Not at all. Or the pixie straws, those huge pixie straws that were like as big as a yardstick,
Yeah.
filled full of sugar, from that and the fun dips, all that good stuff.
Yeah, we had that here too. You don't see them
Well,
much anymore. That's crazy.
no, no, I think they'll probably get sued if they have it. But one more thing, we have Mother's Day coming up. This is probably going to be I probably going to be after Mother's Day or around Mother's Day with our next one coming up. But if you're in Japan and you really want to treat mom well, you can go to Yoshinoya and gift mom the gift of beef bowls for Mother's Day. They're going to run a happy Mother's Day kind of thing going on between April 8th and May 15th. And let me just say, as it's here, whose mom wouldn't enjoy a chain, restaurant, a bowl, or a restaurant? But they're gonna give their lineup of like they have Mother's Day gift sets sold through their online shop. They have a gratitude bowl, say thanks to mom with a Yoshinoya gratitude bowl, made of fine Arita ware porcelain and decorated in Yoshinoya's distinctive patterns. With the kanji characters for gratitude written in gold lettering. Come on. Whose mom wouldn't appreciate that? And it comes along, so nothing says you appreciate your mom like those things here. It comes in a box shaped like a Yoshinoya bowl, along with 6 packets of Yoshinoya beef bowl meat and seasoning for the low, low price of 6,600 yen or $41. And for an additional 2,000 yen, they'll even throw in a pair of official Yoshinoya chopsticks made of traditional lacquerware and things like that. I- You know, I think your mom would have to really be a fan of Yoshinoya to pull this one off, or someone with a good sense of humor. Do either of you fine gentlemen going to be running out, flying to Japan and then coming back? Uh,
Yeah,
for your wife, for your
nothing
wife, your
says,
significant other. I mean, come on, David,
right.
you need to go get this now and then have this when your child comes out into the world. They have those push gifts, right? What
Yes,
better push
actually,
gift
I
than a
think you are onto something here now. I was just thought about it. I was like, yeah, this could be a Mother's Day gift. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
get to be part of it too,
That's
'cause
right. So
I
you
have to
just
be
gotta
there, right? Uh, yeah, I think you're
uh,
definitely onto something. The
Yeah.
well,
idea
it's
has been, yeah, come up with, so I like
well,
it.
and apparently, Yoshinoya, this is something I was not aware of, actually has a brand of skincare products called Speedia. And that is also gonna be part of those things that's here, but they have this ostrich oil serum mist hand milk booster oil and moisture masks, with
Whoa.
prices ranging from 3,300 yen to 9,020 yen. Um, I'm assuming that that might be something that might, again, hey, if your mom's into anime and Japan as well, Maybe they're the one that introduced you to Japan. That Yoshinoya is gonna be there, but it comes in wrapping paper, that's a Yoshinoya kinda themed, wrapping paper, but come on, what better way to say "I love you, mom" than sending pre-cooked meat to arrive on their doorstep, you
And
know?
ostrich oil.
That's
Mm.
an ostrich oil. Come on, that's what makes everyone look younger in Japan is that ostrich oil. That's I just gotta start bringing that ba so maybe if I rub that on my gums, Justin, that'll
Oh,
reverse the damage I did when I was
I
younger.
yeah, that sounds right. I
The
think I'm gonna
research is
stick to
there.
the regionally specific sweets, um, as a safe bet here. Maybe get some of the Japanese flavored Kit Kats or something like that if I if I wanna get something that's just like a fun thing, but
Yeah. Yeah,
probably
yeah.
not the gyudon. I'm not sure that I'm not sure that my vegan wife would appreciate a beef bowl.
You don't even know me. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Baby,
could you
come
imagine?
on. Happy Hahanohi.
Come on, this is a lacquered bowl here, there's lacquered sticks, and, it's got,
And
it's
ostrich oil.
that's
Yeah,
right, ostrich oil, come on,
yeah.
that's really where it's
Yeah,
at.
I can't even get her that one because with the whole vegan thing,
Oh,
so,
Yeah.
man, that's
yeah,
like you say,
like
"Look at Mike's gums, they've never looked better."
yeah, yeah.
Which Mike? The
Look
podcast Mike, that's
look how
right.
shiny they are, just the way gums are supposed to be. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey,
Oh.
I didn't mention it earlier, but, and this is probably specific to, different regions, I guess, but, Rental Family right now on, if you want, like, a digital copy of it is on sale for $5.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I
so
saw that on Apple after I paid 14.99 for mine.
yeah,
I would agree that's something, David, if you don't already have that digital copy, maybe on Amazon's or, Apple's, you could get that too. And then depending on what your availability is, as things are getting closer, maybe join us and you can hang out and reminisce with some family romance as well. I also right before coming on just began to one of those $5 movies too. Justin is Good Morning Vietnam with Robin Williams, and I was like literally about maybe 15 minutes into that movie, and I'm like, oh, this is when I sold all my physical media that I'm currently in the process of buying back again,
mm,
and regret having done that. That is one of those movies where every once in a while I'd pop on and it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
very well
I'm
done.
I've hit that same mode just because it's like, I've realized, like, you can't truly own your digital media. Like, you
No,
own it up until,
they take it
you
away.
don't.
Amazon or
So you
Apple or
don't.
whoever, like, they either fold or they go, "Yeah, yeah, the rights on that have expired." And it's like, "What?
There's multiple times that I
I
bought like
bought
a
it. What do you
yeah,
mean?"
there's a couple different movies on the digital storefronts where I've had to rebuy them because they
Mhm.
lost, like, their license for them, and then I had to re-get them again, and I'm looking at it like, "Wait, I
Yeah.
own this. We watched this," and I'm, like, talking to Sam, like, "Didn't we watch this? Didn't I own this?" And it's like, "Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, it's gone
Yeah.
now. Gone."
Yep. So it's pretty rare that, like, I buy movies in general, but I don't have any streaming platforms that have, Rental Family on it. And, uh, I wanted to be able to rewatch it, and at $5, I was like, "Well, that is the exact same price it costs to rent it, so I'll
Yeah,
just go ahead and buy
get
it,
it
and
to where we can have
at least
more
I
of a
can watch
permanent.
it a couple times before,
Yeah.
before Jeffrey decides that he needs another yacht and takes it away from me." So
Yeah, it is, and I wanna say, in that digital, or the buying physical media, I just bought, because it's the same thing, like, there are some bands, there's some songs, there's some music that I wanna be able to listen to, regardless of it staying on a platform or not. One of those was Shishimo, which is the band that I saw when I went to Japan, my first Japanese, concert, like real concert that I went to in Aomori, and I bought their this 3 CD set that I didn't realize was like a greatest hits, and it was, I knew it was a greatest hits, but I didn't know that each CD was one of the members selecting their favorite songs. And then that was kinda cool that you don't get from a digital point because you don't see the artwork. right? You
Mm.
don't see the CD, you don't see the things that indicate that each one of these is something that's by each member. And then in that was a lottery for one of their 2 final concerts that's gonna be going on this summer. So, I am in that lottery. If something happens to where I get this, I'm gonna hope that ticket prices drop for airfare, and I can literally fly there, catch the concert, and come back. Maybe I can sell a spleen. I don't know what the market value is on those, but to be able to be there, on that last set of things from buying a CD, that's crazy. And Maurice, he's currently doing his photo show, David. It's in Tokyo. And he's there right now with one of the models that was part of that photo book that he's going to be the
Mhm.
Dreams 2.0 that he's going to be releasing. And he ended up finding a Chattahoochee album that I was looking for in vinyl
Oh,
while he
wonderful.
was there for me. So I've got another thing that I can tack on. But I'm wishing, right now, we can, send some vibes and things. And when that comes closer, his pictures are looking fantastic. This photo book's going to be amazing. And it's just going to be a wonderful time. And David, I'm super happy for you, my friend, that is what's happening right now in your life, and, wish you nothing but positiveness in that, and I can't wait to see some pictures, when you're ready to share, my friend, and, let me know. Around the time of that sleep schedule, maybe you'll be up, with the baby, and we can just have, them on the show too. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They can start their
Yeah,
podcasting out early, it's a
Yeah. If
yeah.
Justin can do it, a baby can do it.
That's right, that's right, just get them their, baby's first, podcast microphone. That's what we need to do, David. You know?
Yeah, and also too, so when it does arrive, I will have, 2 weeks off, so, um, I think we can most probably do, I don't know, a small little recording or
Yeah,
something,
yeah, just hang out
just since my
together.
schedule is gonna be open, so and
S
especially I'm gonna be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, so
Gonna fit right in with our schedule, buddy, right in. But yeah,
so
soak it all in, my friend, because, before you know it, they're gonna be 18 and 24. And, I can't even begin to tell you how quickly that goes, my friend, because
Mhm.
there's, like, moments where you can feel like things are a day is forever long,
Yeah.
when they're sick and, things are going on. But honestly, before you know it, you're looking at your daughter who's 18, and, about to graduate and planning for college, and, I'm just glad they both like me and they wanna spend time with me because I don't know what I would do, otherwise, you know?
Mm.
It's like, they're such a huge part of your life, and, I still call and talk to my dad every day,
Mhm.
and my sister still goes on dates with my dad, and they're in their 40s. So,
Mhm.
it's like we got that family tradition of things going on, my friend, but, I couldn't be, more excited for you, my friend. I am honestly, I even more thankful now already than, you reaching out when you were first listening to the show of, like, man, talk about, 5 years of knowing each other and, kind of arriving where you
Time
are
has
today,
really
buddy, you know?
gone by, so it's been crazy. Also too, just to put in, like, just I honestly never really thought I was gonna be a dad, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like, I was never, like, against the idea. It just never seemed to be an option, but, once we, bought the house and it's like within 2 years, the idea of that quickly fell into place, if that makes
yeah,
sense. Because
yeah,
let's say, like, for me personally, so not having a house, I didn't really wanna be, like, in a rental or anything like that because, especially here or not, well, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't have that security. They can just sell the house, from under your,
yeah.
feet and be like, "Yeah, you have to move out." So, you have to, pick your life up and put it down here, and especially having kids, you know what I mean? I can only imagine it being a bit of a tricky, process. But yeah, once we got this and just everything seemed to fall into place, like with, better job and,
Yeah.
um, just, I mean, it's not like it's, going to be super easy, but, it definitely helps. So,
You're doing it
and
right,
yeah, look, here
buddy.
we are. So
You're doing it right. You're not taking your first to your, finals for your, teaching, while you're in college and having them passed around the room,
yeah.
while you're taking your finals.
Wow.
So hey, I wouldn't change anything, or, change what I have in here, but I gotta tell you, one thing this show attracts, especially for people that are on it, like Justin and yourself and Maurice and others, that are kind of like our ongoing guest, Steffi and things. It attracts quality people, and you're going to be a fantastic dad, my friend.
Thank
You
you.
really are,
Appreciate it.
and I look forward to seeing that over time. And shoot, most likely, 8 years when I'm in Japan, could meet your first, and you could
Mhm.
be like, talk about Uncle Mike in Chicago, and then we could meet in person finally. Because, like I told you, I'll fly from Japan to go meet you, buddy, but I'm not flying from Chicago. Uh,
No, no, I
14
could
and a half hours is my tap out. When you start crossing 24 hours of in that plane, I'd be jumping out. So,
yeah. No, no, that's completely understandable.
well, thank you, all three of you, fine, fine gentlemen, for jumping on today. And I just, not to cut us short, but I do want to be respectful of the start of your day and the end of ours. And either of you have anything else that you want to bring up before we kind of sign things off and bring today's record breaking downloaded most ever episode for the show, I'm sure, to an end?
I'm pretty good for now. Sure.
Yeah, no, nothing for me. We can talk about it next time, but I think it's kind of funny. You and I last time we talked, we were talking about Utsunomiya and the jazz scene there,
Yes.
and just as a indictment of what an old man I am, I still get a subscription, like a paper subscription to National Geographic, and they had an article in one of the last editions that was about jazz bars, kisas in Japan. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool timing. I wish I had it like it came like a day or two after we had talked. So I was like, oh, I wish this had come beforehand because it would have been topical. But
Hey, send me a
interesting.
picture, buddy, of that because I might have to pick that up myself and just have
Yeah.
that to kind of flip through with you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you want,
That sounds cool.
just shoot me your address and I'll mail it to you.
Be amazing, amazing, buddy. David, hey, let us know pictures, things like that. We'll send out invites when you can message. But you are, I know you're going to be busy. I know you're going to get busy, but I just want you to know, you are family, my friend. 100%.
Likewise.
So can, whenever you are able to hop on, my friend,
Yep.
regardless of when that is. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And but to everyone out there, yeah, on behalf of Lost Without Japan and our entire crew, some with better teeth than others, we want to all thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you on board again for our next regularly scheduled episode as we continue our discussion on Japan, travel, culture, and your lost without moments. Be that our episode, like I said, going to be most likely Tokyo, and finishing up Tokyo before we go back, Justin and David, to those obscure cities that aren't part of Golden Routes. But like I said, I couldn't pass up an opportunity to share with you, the listener, what's recommended to those in Japan that isn't the tourist of what to do within Japan. And I think you are really going to enjoy it. We shared a couple of those places today. And to everyone else out there, Oginki Day, stay well, my friends.